Glitchbane Alistair does a ton of damage to turrets.
Whoa, that's a super aggressive flash over the top there from Xuxing. Absolutely amazing.
That was one turret dead, second turret dead. Fnatic going to win the Season 1 championship if they can hold on.
But Ocelot is there again. He manages to pull the ulti back in there. They have still not taken this Baron down. Yellow Beat has been dropped as well. Oh my god, Ocelot does it again and again. He gets the triple and the Baron. SK Gaming. Oh, we are the victim of another kill. Senpai Assassins are the Season 2 World Champions. They picked up $1 million and they're
And now Genji's here as well.
With the Zonies out on the edge of the fight. One more Alpha Strike. He can get another triple here. That is one.
Oh, the Master Yi Penta.
That's the triple. That's the quadra. And the chase. Penta kill. Penta kill.
He's trying to take the Nexus down. Is anyone going to be able to deal with this one? Catches him with another axe. He's very low on health. They're pushing on the Nexus to his face. He's activated. I do not believe it. He's stuck in there. Catching it. Takes down the Nexus. But now he's going crazy. That game was amazing. That was the best thing I have seen in the entire history of League of Legends. God, bro is still somehow alive in this one as he flings Freddy away again. Can we see a kill? Can he get the pentakill here? Bjergsen chasing down. Oh, he's missing just about, but then pentakill coming in for Bjergsen. And Copenhagen Wolves are going to push through here and pick up their first victory. Caught out. Pekka gets in there, gets one, gets a reset, gets a second. Can he get the third? It doesn't matter because Brogan's backdoor and he's taken down 2 Nexus turrets. He's not going to be able to quite get this. Nexus surely to God. He can't get away from this one. He's going to get taken down. The minions are on the Nexus. He does go down, but the minions are going to take it. He's got it. I do not believe what Brogan just did. He just got a Pekka on Pekka. They will be the Season 3 World Champions here at the stage. The Nexus itself and Samsung White are the 2014 World Champions.
And there's the death mark coming in.
And will it be enough? The pop and the ignites. Feathervin,
But that one underwater.
1v1's Faker. Faker eats 2 shurikens. The knockup is interrupted as Feathervin materializes. Ignite plus one more. That is 2 1v1s in a game. The chain of corruption catches in Rated and Rolls and Nukeduck are still alive. Candy Pepper kills him. Just out. Triple kill. Triple. Nukeduck's gonna look for the quadra. Can he get it? He does. Quadra kill for Nukeduck. Back on Kitties, gets caught and apprehended backwards. Fates back to time, but that's a triple! Boom! Incarnation gets the kill.
Two Tigers are falling. SKT will be your first ever 2-time world champions.
Zero vision in their own jungle for elements, so they can just kind of figure out what's about to happen. And whoa. Wow, EU mid laners, man.
EU mids.
That was a great prediction from Perks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Mid Lane Week here, coming to you live from the European LCS studios in Berlin, Germany, where week 4 of the summer split is about to get underway. Everyone's hyped, and weren't we after seeing that video? The crowd outside enjoying a bit of the sun, and then Schalke having a last-minute strategy session before taking to the stage, as well as Rocket looking fly before they start to face Vitality. Hello, I'm EpicSkillshot supporter, and joining me at the analyst desk is Mitch Kreppel-Voorspoels and Andy Verius Day. What an opening video. As you guys all know, it's mid lane week here in the European LCS. You had a thing or two to say about the TF backdoor of Frog, and though you of course were in the team when it happened.
Yeah, that was like it was literally a free win. We were setting up for the final team fight. I still remember it. I'm like, guys, okay, kite back, focus front line, we'll get them. We start the fight, and halfway through, we were suddenly losing it. I'm like, why are we losing this fight? Like, we're supposed to win the single hand. And then I look at the minimap and Froggen's backdoor, and I'm like, Froggen, what the F are you doing right now? Just like win us this team fight. He's like, no, I got the backdoor. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you own all the fame to yourself. PJ Salt, yeah.
Yeah, PJ Salt a little. Great moments though. Verius, it's just great. It all goes so fast that you kind of forget what a rival to history we already have here built up in EU.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange to think that it wasn't even that long ago. I mean, Alex's pentakill on the Master Yi. I still remember his Kazakh's pentakill as well. I mean, so many fantastic plays from all over you.
Slightly over-exaggerated.
Well, whatever. Let's hope we see a lot more of those big plays. Let's take a look at the standings as we approach the halfway point in the spring split. Obviously, Perks, we saw him there. G2 Esports is in first. Fnatic and H2K to round out the top three. All the way at the bottom, the Unicorns of Love, with interesting stuff in the middle of the table.
Yeah, I think the big surprise here is the fact that Giants, after having a pretty terrible first 2 weeks, are currently sitting in 6th place right now. And thanks to picking up those 2 big wins, they've earned enough points to actually be rivaling the middle of the pack right now.
Yeah, Origin in 9th place is something I did not expect. Yes, they lost their bot lane, but they were supposed to kind of kick ass here with Forgiven, and then that suddenly just stopped happening. Forgiven left the roster, now they have Expect on AD carry. That and Splice being tied for 4th place with Schalke, for me, are 2 of the biggest surprises so far.
Super interesting to see how everything will evolve. And this week, we are celebrating the European LCS's mid-lane might. And to start things off, let's take a look at our top 5 plays from the center of the Rift so far this split. First up, at number 5, it is Febivin showing off the Zed, that 1v1 faker, twice.
Oh, 2v1. Zed moves out, throws down some abilities. That was
dirty.
Super clean.
At number 4, Knight has just one word for the Unicorns of Love, Shurima.
Sunstar will pick up a kill first up, but that's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Sunstar will be coming in, and that's another 1-for-1 trade. Chachi onto the back lines, he's onto Huston himself, but he's separated from the team. Only Exile and Chachi are alive to try and deal the damage. Maxwell's going to jump in and pick up that kill. Double kill, triple kill for Knight, looking for the final one for the Quadra to the Azir.
Look at Knight here, really good positioning. Gets Vizichachi off him, then turns to Exile, turns around to Vizichachi, waits for Exile to step back into the fight. Not enough damage. Helps out Maxwell at the end. Yeah, really good awareness here.
At number 3, Exile makes a statement in his first pro appearance.
Now Nukeduck finds Exile, who hung around here. Ultimate available. Exile's gonna force it. Goes for the dive, actually. Flashes in.
Well played by
Exile. Starting to roll on this rise, and he even dodges the arrow.
Coming in at number 2, Betsy sends the Spring Champions running with a perfect Frozen Tomb.
Kikis is taking too much damage here. Yeah, that's the cue that they're going to start moving in. Traffic Cone comes down, flashes forward, there's the wave, but they get a 3-man Lissandra ultimate, and Airwax starts to pick up one.
And our number 1 mid lane play of the summer so far, it's Perks doing Perks things.
Trick looking for the angle on the barrel. Trashy and Senkuk's going forward, but now the flank comes out. That's a moment of misposition. Hop goes the Casio. Domination coming in for G2 once again. Hop, skip, and a jump back into Mithy to pick up the return kill, but in the end, he's still going to drop. And Perks, the triple kill. What? The quadra kill coming in. This man, 1v5, the dream for the Vladimir.
80% the play, 20% the call, or how would you rate
I mean,
it?
quadra kills do have a tendency to get some greatness out of play-by-play casters, and we all remember Freaks. So, interesting plays right there. Definitely like what Exile brought to the table at the start of the split. Hoping for more of that
Yeah.
towards the middle of the split, because the Unicorns need it.
Definitely. Knight, though, you had Said it straight from the beginning, he'll be making waves, and he is.
It's nice to see that he is coming into his own, being that carry that Giants needs, and hopefully moving into today's games, he can do the same sort of thing.
Yep, you saw the plays there, and of course on Mid Lane Week, we have a bunch of content coming out. Just go to eu.llesports.com/midlaneweek, and there you'll see everything in the portal that we designed for this specifically. However, there are also 5 matches on the slate today, starting in just a few minutes with Vitality jumping onto the Rift against Giants, followed by Roccat looking to extend their lead over the 10th placed Unicorns of Love. Meanwhile, we've got Schalke 04 battling it out with the league leaders G2 in the LCS arena, followed by our match of the week, Fnatic versus Origin.
Yeah, Fnatic versus Origin, what's supposed to become somewhat of a staple classic here in the European LCS, rather. Not in the Unicorns. LCS. Kind of sad what it may have become, depending on how Origin perform after another week of practice. They have recently given over some of the manager tasks to a new CEO, which means Expect can focus solely on gameplay and maybe like the in-team environment. But I feel that change comes too late and needs a little bit more of growth time. So right now, Fnatic heavy-handed favorites.
Definitely. We'll see how that plays out. This week's games will also be played on patch 6.12. Not the biggest patch, dubbed the ARAM patch, of course. Verius, what do you expect coming in here on the competitive?
Well, we have seen a couple of changes to Corki. We've seen a couple of changes to Fizz as well. They wanted to nip that in the butt very early on. And also, we have seen some changes to the last Whisper items. Adding plus AD to those two, I think, will be a big factor down in the bottom lane. We've also seen a couple of +5s, -5s onto some of the items to help the late scaling and mitigate some of the early power that some of these items have.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. As said, it is mid lane week, meaning we will be joined by some kick-ass mids on the desk today. Febiven and Perks will be joining us later, but we want you to join on Twitter and tell us your questions at LOL Esports with the hashtag #AskAMidlaner so we can get your answers later today. We'll see what happens, and it's always a lot of fun with those two.
Yeah, it's always some banter. Hopefully we can keep the broadcast clean of any swear words they're involved.
We'll see. I can't promise. So while the teams are setting up on stage, let's dive into our first matchup taking place in the EU LCS arena. Schalke taking on G2. Schalke, a winning series versus Roccat last week. It's safe to say that the hype of week 1 died down, and they are starting to look like a solid middle-of-the-pack team, which is still better than some of us had expected coming in.
Yeah, it certainly is. Schalke in their games up against Roccat last week were better than what we've seen in the past. Their drafting in particular was very good. The way in which they executed that composition with the poke and the siege was actually really impressive to see.
Yeah, they had a game plan. They were executing it. Right now, when Nif drafts them a slightly more difficult composition, this Schalke team can actually perform in it, rather than what we've seen from Lostwit's Elements, for example. They have shown that they're a level above the bottom, but still a distinct level below the top 3. I think very similar to Splice in that regard.
We'll have to see if they can challenge the #1 team here. G2 obviously tied in that match of the week versus H2K last week, but they beat the Unicorns of Love. And we looked at that series and at some point said, well, there's no way G2 is losing this game, but it did look tight.
At one point, they could have closed out, right? Because the Unicorns were super far ahead.
They certainly were. I mean, the Unicorns had a great early game. There was so much pressure coming out from both Move and Exile to try and shut down Perks and build an early advantage that the early game was going great, but they just couldn't quite get the tools needed to really close things up.
Yeah, and we also saw something that we need to see more from some of these top teams, which is coming back from a deficit, because not always will things go your way, and I think that marks the difference between like a top 6 team and a championship contender, when you can actually crawl back out of those mistakes that you did in the early game. And we saw that from G2 Esports. Mithy actually touched a little bit on that in the post-game interview that he did. He was talking a little bit about how Trick should do more shot calling, because Trick was really the guy that kept his mind cool. Mithy had mentally FF'd. He said if this was a scrim, we would have probably just paused the game and left. And Trick kept saying how we could still win this, kept micromanaging everybody, and Trick was apparently the person to praise for that victory from G2 Esports.
If anything, G2, of course, always has Sven, and he is doing fantastically so far, ahead in a lot of categories over the other ADCs in the league.
So yeah, if somebody stays calm, Sven can carry.
Yeah,
he certainly can. He's not only literally head and shoulders above a lot of the other AD carries, but he's also statistically not Mr. Alice, who will be his opponent today. And it is quite interesting, this matchup in particular, because both on paper look like very talented AD carries, and even though Roccat hasn't been able to Schalke, hasn't been able to perform, they've definitely always had that rising star and Rallis in the bottom lane. So
we'll
going
see
up against
what
Sven
can happen there, indeed. Meanwhile, first up in the EU LCS studio is a middle of the table clash between Vitality and Giants. Giants a 2-0 win over Origin last week, and that is hugely important when you look at the standings, and it would be so good for them if they manage to best Vitality.
Yeah, if they can replicate the play that they brought to the table last week and maybe shore up some of these like erroneous map moves or maybe overextensions for Vision, then they can definitely even challenge this Vitality roster, because we have to be honest right now, Vitality are looking like a shade of their former self. The roster changes have not impacted their roster beneficially, and they're struggling to even get the core concepts of gameplay down. What was one of their strengths, like Lost Split, in my opinion.
Yeah, and one of the big players who really hasn't been his self is EpicSkillshot up in the top lane. We heard from Odoamne on the desk last week that Cabo had the winning matchup in the laning phase for both of their games, yet he wasn't able to put the pressure down, and Odoamne wasn't feeling like he had anything to fear from Cabo.
Yeah, at the start of Lost Split, we had almost this meme about how EpicSkillshot would have shook camp for him and then dominate the opposing top laner. He put his opposing top laner on the lowest CS out of any other, like compared to any other top laner in the game. So he had unrelenting pressure, getting a pretty high CS himself, but really putting the other guy in a dumpster, making him play from farther behind than he's usually used to, and that actually created a lot of pressure for Vitality. He no longer has that pressure. Jungler is Mighty Bear's looking for like some ganks here and there, but he's still looking to find his footing, and yeah, very disjointed Vitality, looking for a sense of direction.
Now we will see what happens. It's time to get this show on the road as the teams prepare for picks and bans. We'll send it over to our casters as we kick off week 4 of the EU LCS.
Thank you very much, Sharks. I'm Trevor Quickshot Henry, alongside James Stress O'Leary. We're getting ready to jump into Game 1 between Schalke 04 and G2 Esports.
Yeah, we are. Is it Null Fear? I'm going to try Null Fear for the entire series, Trev. I'm going to try.
You do that. I'll do it for the both of us.
It's fine.
Let's start with